The 90-day fiance streets. Simply, ever, truly, never sleep. Let's not waste time though. Let's get into the first one. This one here is about Jasmine. You know, there's a reason why people don't like Jasmine, and it's crazy because Jasmine loves to still add more fuel to the fire. So, Jasmine came out with this announcement literally hours ago, 15 hours ago to be exact, as you can see, where she put down this post where it says, he got down on one knee to propose, and I said yes. So, of course, naturally, we all think this must mean proposal for one simple thing. It can only be one thing. But instead of it being for one thing, it's for what? Matt got down on one knee, not to ask to marry me, but to ask if we could adopt a chihuahua. And I said yes. In the process, he also got her this ring. Personally, if you ask me personally, I think that this whole ring thing is more an advertisement for the company. So she must be getting paid to advertise the ring and the company itself in particular. But this is the thing though, why is this such a nuisance of a thing? Because Jasmine has done this before where she will make a post indicating that there may be a baby on the way, which of course sometimes has been true, but then also has not been true, because even after Matilda, there was idea of where she hinted at another child coming, and she was simply pulling out strings. Then prior to this post coming out, she also actually did hint at the idea of a potential fourth child on the way, which I was meant to make a video about, but I got busy. And good thing I did, because now I know what the hint was all about. The hint was about a freaking dog, that being a chihuahua. But the thing is, folks, is that when it comes to Jasmine, she does every single thing possible in this world to satisfy her own needs. And why is this going to be something that's going to irritate people? Well, here are my thoughts on the matter. Jasmine, for a long time, has been telling people that she wants to bring her sons to America. A lot of people do not believe her, and even if she does bring them to America, a lot of people still wouldn't see her as being this superior parent. Why? Because Jasmine only does things for her own benefit, for her own pocket. What do I mean by that? There is a fine line between doing something for someone and doing something for yourself. Jasmine so far has shown us a pattern that when she does things, it has to be for her own benefit. For example, when she obviously got with Gino, and then when she got with Gino, it was all about Gino putting money in her pocket. That was their storyline. Then on top of that, it was then Gino paying for her rent. That was also the storyline. Jasmine has come out to say that apparently all the money that Gino was sending her was actually money that she earned, and he had to transfer it to her because she couldn't earn it in America because she was living in Panama. Whether or not that be true, I guess we'll never know for sure. But what we do know is that at the same time though, when it came to the idea of Gino giving her $3,000 to stay in this apartment, the maddest thing about it is he was sending her $3,000 to stay in an apartment, for her to stay in an apartment, the same apartment that her ex-Dane was living in, which is mad, right? But then also on top of that, she then also asked Gino to send her money for the wedding dress. Gino sends her money for the wedding dress, but instead of using the money for the wedding dress, what did she do? She used it to get some butt implants. Also on top of that, with additional money that she also gained from Dane as well. Can you see the pattern here? When it comes to Jasmine and money, it is all about money in her pocket. But that's just the money part, and that will be expanded in a second. Then we go on to the next part of stuff in particular. When it came to applying for the visa for her to come to America, Jasmine, we did not witness her at any point say, Gino, you must put my two sons on this application. They must be on the visa. Never once did we see her do that. But when we saw Mina come on the show, she made it imperative that she was only going to stay in America only if her son was going to be approved on that visa. If her son wasn't going to be there, then she wasn't going to be there. Even when she left her son for like a week, she was ready to run back to France and just sabotage the whole visa situation. That is a parent that loves her son. That is a parent that does things for her son. Jasmine never had this trait. But then we move on. The pattern changes. The pattern continues. Then she decides to obviously put everything and blame Gina for the whole shebang. But either way though, then she ends up meeting Matt. Then has another child with Matt. Despite the fact that she hasn't got her two boys in America yet. Which, to be fair, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Just because she had another child with somebody else doesn't mean that she's completely neglecting her kids, right? But the pattern is that so far, everything that she has done has to be for Jasmine's benefit. Matilda is born. What happened? The second that Matilda is born, Jasmine's content starts to become more family friendly, should we say. All of a sudden now, we're seeing her posting her child left, right and center. Why? Because there is a financial benefit. And also it means you can bring in a new crowd of people as well to yourself. But now we are at the final stage. Now all of a sudden they're going to get a dog. Ladies and gentlemen, on the internet, if you really want to make money, right? There are so many powerful different ways you can do it, but one of the most two powerful ways of doing it is one, having a child to monetize, and two, also having a pet to monetize. Her having this dog is just going to be a way for her to monetize. Watch every post moving forward. Oh, look at me and my Chihuahua. Oh, look at me and Matilda and my Chihuahua. Look at me and Matt with Matt and Matilda and the Chihuahua. Oh, look at me with Matt, Matilda, the Chihuahua. And now look, my two boys are now here too. The pattern, this is the pattern. But the thing is though, she doesn't do any of these things because she's trying to be there for her sons. It's not because she wants to be here for Matilda. It's not because she wants to be here for the dog. Maybe it's harsh to say that it's not because she wants to do that. The reason why I have to say it that way is to fit in the context of what I'm trying to tell you folks. She does it because the result of having all of these properties around her puts money in her pocket. I see through this nonsense. But nonetheless, though, what I would like to know from you folks is, do you think I'm moving mad? Or do you think I'm reality ready? I gotta know. I gotta know. But also on topic of Jasmine in particular, Jasmine also got a visit from one and the only Shekinah. Ah, yes, Shekinah decided to go and visit Jasmine. As you can see, Miami kind of fun. Matilda has usual being extra adorable. Yep, you always got to bring it into the picture. As you can see, Shekinah comes into the post and she says, Jasmine, you're a freaking gorgeous, perfect queen. Amazing mama, such a special moment to meet your sweet family. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, do what you will with this information itself in particular, but I find it very ironic that Shekinah shaves her hair, and as she shaves her hair, her and Jasmine meet for the very first time. But you know what? I'm gonna leave that one alone. But we're now going to move on to something else. And this one's interesting because you see, in the most recent episode, we saw an outburst that happened between Rebecca herself, more in particular, and then also Zayed trying to express himself. And him trying to express himself, he simply was saying that I need a real life, a real wife, a good wife, which Rebecca then went completely berserk about. But despite going berserk about it, she still needed an answer from Zayed in terms of what he meant. What does he mean when he says he wants a real wife? One of the examples that he gave, he says, you don't even cook for me. She then responded by saying, well, I work 14 to 16 hours, so what do you expect? You want me to work that long and then still come and cook for you? Now, because of what's happened, it has now put people in a position to go down memory lane and deep dive into Rebecca's life, so people can be reminded of the kind of person that she is. So as per 90 Day Fiance update, first and foremost, there was this perception out here that Zayed did not work. Well, as you can see, Zayed has a job and Rebecca has quite the scandalous past. Oh, I love that word. Before everyone says Zayed does not work, he actually does. As you can see in this picture here, next to the information, it does say, okay, that he went to a HVAC school and graduated in 2020 and has been working ever since for many years. Now, in the most recent Last Resort preview caused this whole 7-year history deep dive on Rebecca and her finances. Again, the preview in question is this, but that's also in relation to what I just told you, lovely folks, at the very beginning of this video. So now we're going to move on to the next part. Also remember, I spoke about her working 14 to 16 hour shifts. But now we're going to get into here. 7 important years. Rebecca met Zayed when he was 26. And she was 47. She said, talking about her second husband, as you can see pictured here, who lived in Morocco, Zayed's young, but this guy was a little younger. She says of her ex, I kind of knew that I was probably making a mistake, she says, of doing this. But I still tried really hard. When I brought him over here, he instantly became a different person. He was a very bad person, acting as if she's not a bad person. It's funny, isn't it, how Rebecca never appoints herself in a bad picture. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to contest and say that this man from Morocco, I'm not going to say that he didn't use Rebecca. There's a high chance that he probably did use Rebecca. But at the same time, let's just go off the smaller chance that he didn't use her and he decided to change and he decided to obviously be off skis once he got in America. Maybe Rebecca needs to recognize that maybe it's because of who she is as a person. Maybe it's because of her attitude. Maybe it's because of the way she carries herself. Maybe it's because of the way she conducts herself in terms of when she speaks to Zaid, we've experienced her speak to him with utter disrespect, utter lack of patience for him to say anything. Now, you can say that maybe she is the way she is because of what happened in her previous relationship with this guy, but I'd say no. She's a woman who's well, now in her 50s, right? But she met Zaid when she was 47. She would have met this guy probably, let's just say, for the sake of context purposes, maybe when around the age of 44, 45. Either he would have been in her 40s. But the question is, why does she seem to want to go for younger guys? Somebody tells me that prior to the second husband, she obviously may have been with somebody around her actual age, somebody that she probably had kids with. And that probably shaped who she became even more than ever. So my point being is that there's a strong chance that she treated this previous guy from Morocco the same way that she treats Zaid. And that's why maybe that guy actually decided to skedaddle and bounce on her ass. But at the same time, maybe that doesn't matter, and maybe he just always was planning to use it just to get to America. Either way, though, we cannot ignore there's a pattern within Rebecca's behavior, and that is the main thing there, and that is something that Rebecca needs to take note of, that the way she behaves is not nice, it is not cool, it is unfriendly, and no man's going to want to tolerate that. Well, I say that, but then Zaid is still with you, so I guess he wants to tolerate it. What a weak man. Continues here by saying that she put a GPS tracker on his car and caught him cheating. Rebecca was in the process of her divorce when she was with Zaid in Tunisia. Okay. So she definitely didn't waste her time jumping into another relationship, which tells me that clearly she struggles with the idea of being alone. So lonely, so long. Okay, let me not do that. Those vocals were too nice for you guys. I can't be treating you like that. But now we move on, because now we're going to go into the part where it continues here by talking about Rebecca's past. Rebecca got popped for back child support she owed for many years, which may explain why she works 14 to 16 hours. Maybe because she still has to earn that money to have to pay back the money that she did not pay for her kids. So there is definitely more for this last resort story. Rebecca owed her first ex-husband thousands in child support. He first took her to court back in 2024, and they worked out an amount to be paid in reasonable installments. Her first husband said that she did not pay, and the court agreed. She was held in contempt. The court ordered more money to be paid. She eventually paid the court contempt fines and child support, which is fantastic. It's good to know that she finally bloody paid them, even though these things should have never got as far as they did. But now we move on to this point. So we continue by saying, so she skipped out on her rent, and court documents show she was sued. And as you can see here, 3 kids, all the same baby daddy. They are all over 21 now, divorced. First husband in 2006. She was married to some other guy from 2009 to 2013. No kids from that marriage. And then married a 20-year-old from Morocco in September 2014. Divorced him this summer. No kids from that marriage. Okay, I don't see the child support probably being dumped. Wait, I didn't see back child support probably dump the kids on the father to go and get a 20-year-old man, because it was 2013 and she married a Moroccan man and the kids would have been teenagers, more or less. Rebecca pays rent and has great credit history. Denied. Has never been married, has been married so many bloody times, never had a K1 visa spouse, has that many times, pictures and videos of accurate and not catfishing, which we know that she loves the catfish. Honest about age, we know it's a lie, works as a PI and has excellent reputable job history. Another lie. Rebecca, suspicious of boyfriend who lives in a third world country and does not have to report his income the same way she would in the US. Correct. Oh my days, honestly, Rebecca, you have put yourself in a very, 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 very sticky situation. And then also it does continue with some more, but as you can see here, it continues by saying that she seems to be so defensive over Zaid, saying everything Zaid says, including anything any man says on TLR, that being the last resort. Is it because she has been dishonest from the day she met Zaid and thanks everyone and thinks everyone is a liar too? And that is the killer question. The killer question itself in particular. And that is why there is now this memory lane of all of these screenshots. Obviously, this is back when we first saw her and Zaid on the show. I mean, listen, folks, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing but a calamity. Calamity. And of course, if you would like to head over to 90 Day Fiance Update, if you want to read the rest of these screenshots, you can do so. But everything that I need to say has been delivered, obviously, in this video. But also, shout out to your wet sock for obviously being helpful to this information for 90 Day, as well as also whatever lenders. So shout out to them too as well. Come on now, let's not waste time. So the question is, folks, what is your thoughts currently now regarding Rebecca more than ever? I gotta know. But while you're doing that and while you're getting into the comments section, folks, don't forget I am now on Cameo. Links are down below in the description, okay? So let me know your thoughts, obviously, regarding the situation with Shekinah and Jasmine, well, Jasmine and her tomfoolery, as well as also Zaid as well, and Rebecca. So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, go have a great day.